During the unit for the Hummingbird Duo, you're going to be introduced to flowcharts within the flowcharts introduction presentation. Flowcharts allow you to see how a program might flow and help you visualize how you're going to work on creating it. And some of the symbols that you're going to learn about within this presentation, you're going to need to use within your documentation for a lot of your projects. So we're going to recommend that you use a site that is called draw.io. And when you first log into draw.io, it will give you an option to actually link to your Google Drive account. It is highly recommended that you do so that any files that you can create are going to be saved directly in your Drive account, and that way you know exactly where they're at and you can access them anywhere that you have internet access. I've already linked this to Google Drive, so I do not need to sign in, and I'm going to work on creating a new diagram. You want to choose the blank diagram feature, and then you need to choose where in Google Drive you are going to save it. Now once it loads, it's a pretty simple program to use. You have your blank diagram here that you can drag and drop elements onto. You have some different options over here, and what you're going to want to do is actually scroll down on here until you see the flowchart option and click on that. And this is going to bring up those same elements that you learn about in the presentation. So in order to set up your flowchart, you're going to want to find whatever you need, and you just click and drag it out onto your workspace. To label it, double click, and you'll be able to type into your element and then find whatever your next element's going to be and drag that out. You can also color code your blocks in order to make it easier to follow the sequence of what is what. And then in order to add arrows, arrows is a very simple task to do as well. Just hover over one of your items, and there are little blue X's that show up on the edges of your item. If you hover over one of those, you get a little green circle, and click and hold and drag, and you will get an arrow. And you can connect it to whatever element it needs to go to. The other nice thing about these arrows is, much like the blocks themselves, if you choose somewhere on the arrow and double click, it will allow you to add text. Once you are done constructing your flowchart, you need to save it as an image file. In order to do that, go to File, Export as JPEG. You want to keep the zoom at 100. Go ahead and export, and choose where you want to export it to. Maybe you want to save it to Google Drive. Maybe you want to save it to the device. In this case, I'm going to save my JPEG directly in Google Drive in this folder here. And now when I access Google Drive and click on the folder that I decided to save my creation in, I have my untitled diagram here, and I also have my JPEG here.